Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome us to this program. It's really going to be 1 hour. I've given my word to our special guest that we're going to try as much as possible to keep to time. But I'd just like to quickly do just a short introduction on the why of this program. I am very passionate about holistic health in the health line. And I'm also passionate about mental wellness and some of them out of my own personal experience, things I've gone through and I have to walk through. I'm also very passionate about recovery from trauma. And in fact, I went for a trauma course. I didn't go into it because I wanted to become a trauma coach. I actually went into it because I wanted to get healed. I wanted to look after myself. I saw things in my life and I felt I needed help. And I realized that there are so many people out there that are just like me, and are looking for answers. Parents, younger people that are still going to get married. And we have a lot of hidden value system that we don't even know we have, that are buried deep within us. And until life begins to make demand of us and we see how we are responding to those things, that's when we realize that we have a lot of things. And before I invite my guest, just for us to realize that these things are closer to each and every one of us that we might want to admit. Recently, something happened to me here, and I was just talking to my son about it. And at some point, I have a 15-year-old boy, and at some point, he just kept asking me, "Mom, what you are saying to me, what has it got to do with what I've just asked you?" And by the time we finished, I realized that I reacted based on what happened to me, but my reaction towards him was not really what should have happened. I realized it. So the first thing, being a Christian, and because now I'm more self-aware, so the first thing I did was to go to God and say, "God, I've just messed up. I've just ventilated on that boy and I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry." And what I now did, I called him and I told him, "You know what I just did, that was out of order. I shouldn't have done that. And I am sorry. What I said, even though the truth, but it's got nothing to do with you." But I had to say this because it took me a long time to become this self-aware that there are so many things as parents, even as individuals, we can pass easily across to people around us, and we will not know it's because of hidden issues that we have not resolved. So having laid that foundation, I would like to call our special guest today. But before I call, I would like to just share my screen and tell us a little bit about her. Just a moment, please. Our special guest today, Dr. Mrs. Funke Adetuberu, is an inspirational speaker, a family therapist, and a counselor, and is very passionate about helping people to live a safe, is very passionate. She's very passionate about creating an enabling environment for people to recover from whatever life arrows, they might be experiencing. She's very driven about providing a safe and nurturing space for individuals, couples, and family to heal, to grow, and rediscover their inner strength. And honestly, I can relate to this, that there's so many of us, when you are going through a season of brokenness, you need a safe and a nurturing environment to help you to heal. She offers counseling and therapy services. And later at the end of the program, I'll be sharing our website and ways we can connect with her. I've been on her seller page, and there are a lot of books that are there that we can all enjoy and, benefit from. So she's here today to share with us on how, as individuals, we can guard against passing our own pain onto the next generation. You are welcome, ma. So I'd like to welcome Dr. Mrs. Funke Adetuberu. Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving me the privilege to be part of this destiny molding conference, as it were. I am so grateful. The gospel of healing, restoration, taking your life back that I'm talking about, it is what I've felt, I've touched, I've handled. I will tell you a little bit of my story. My mother divorced when I was 6 months. The allegation was adultery, so I'm a bastard. My mother will wake up and call me bastard 1,000,000 times a day. She hated me with a passion because she felt I should have died. Why am I here? I'm the one that proved the fact that she acted out in her marriage. So when you are talking about trauma, my first name is Trauma, second name, middle name, appendix, and nickname. I felt traumatized. I handled trauma. I am a product of becoming a wounded healer. So I understand when a child just finds herself or himself in a family system, something you did not plan for, you just find yourself there and everybody makes you the dumping ground. I often say that where two elephant fights, grass suffers. Most of the time, some grass don't suffer, some grass die permanently, depending on the length of the fight on the grass. I went through so much that I became extremely wayward. And, I aborted. The doctor said I can never be pregnant. I didn't know that, I was actually dancing to a music. I do not know who is playing the rhythm. I was just dancing. I was just living my life. So that's why in this profession, we don't judge people because we know that some things had happened that has brought that person to wherever he or she is at the point. So it was really, really bad. I would smoke, I would drink. When I was in class 3, I got pregnant. I'm intentionally sharing this with you. So when I'm talking, you know what I'm talking about. You know that I am an institution in this, not by information alone, but by experience. I got pregnant when I was in class 3. I think I was just like 13 or 14 thereabouts because I didn't know when my menses came. So it would have been, I got pregnant, having to be menstruating, not started menstruating as it were. So my mother did not know until the pregnancy was 7 months. And my mother said no. Don't forget they divorced when I was a child. So she had to remarry. I was a product of, you can't bury me. You're a bad girl. You are the black sheep. All sorts. I heard it in my little life. I'm over 60 at the moment. And that pregnancy, my mother said, no, you can't. No, it can't be you. You cannot afford to be pregnant now. So my mother told my cousin, one of my cousins, to go and do an abortion for me in a village. Now, the pregnancy was 7 months. She did not know. It was the neighbors that were saying, can't you notice that this girl is sleeping? Can't you notice that she's throwing saliva? That was when she got to know. So pregnancy was 7 months. A 7-month-old pregnancy cannot be abortion. That was induction. So my cousin, she told my cousin to take me to a village where, they gave me Pitocin for 3 days. The baby came out. I pushed. The baby came out, still breathing. Of course, I saw his private part is a boy. My cousin led me to the toilet to flush that boy in the toilet. As I turned back, my cousin started sleeping with me till I left that village. I'm telling you my story. Somebody said, why are you saying your story? It's my story. My mess is my message. So from that place, I became worse than what I've ever done before, what I've ever gone through before. I was living a life that is just chaotic. It's not, you cannot see me and think I'm a human being. Now, the issue is it my fault? No. So having been traumatized, going through anything, it starts from the family system. If you are raised from a monogamous home, you can be very dysfunctional. Very, very dysfunctional because children are not the same. I've been to labor ward several times. I don't want to continue my story or else today will just be for my story, but I'll be putting it in back and forth, like sandwiching it and all of that in the program, in the course of the program. Now, when I had the baby, he came out as a boy, still breathing, like I said that. Now, all my life, I didn't know anything about God. There was no God picture. Of course, I grew up from a family that would go to church with Baptist background, but there was no God factor until like when I was 21. And I mean, the person that preached to me didn't tell me I was going to hell. He just told me he loves me. I was just looking for love. I mean, I didn't give my life to Christ because of the fact that they said I was going to hell. I was told that he loves me, and I started crying and I broke down, and that was the beginning of a journey. Now, when it comes to family system, all of us stems from a home. It is that home front that determines whether we're going to live healthily, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, even physically. Now, somebody had forgotten. A lot of people think, oh, children in the family, they don't feel the impact. Hey, I'm in the studio, I'm in my office. I have a lot of gadgets here. You can see books and all. If myself and my husband were beating each other in this studio for 20 years, the worst that can happen to this, the gadget, the computer, the books, and all of that, is just for them to be dusty. That's what would happen in 20 years if we are beating each other. But when children are in that marriage, they naturally grow up with a storm. A lot of people are oblivious to this. That's why when you see your son, your daughter misbehaving, acting funny, you are getting worried. What happened? I sent you to church and we pray together. We do family devotion. What's going on? The moment there's a conflict in the home, whether monogamy, polygamy, raised by single parents, you are naturally dysfunctional. For the fact that you are raised by mom and dad together, going to church together, wearing uniform to church together, or to go to mosque or whatever religion you believe in, does not make you functional. Children are not the same. Children have different personality. We think differently, we act differently. As a matter of fact, I have all men. My last son is 32. They are different. They are not the same. They have different personality. They have different character. You need to understand that you don't mop up training. You don't pack children together and train them. Now, if you are from a polygamous home, you are superly dysfunctional. Superly dysfunctional. I can start from Genesis to Revelation, but I know I'm limited to time. Then, if you are raised by a single parent, maybe by death, or you were a product of a fling or a rape, just know that you are not normal. You are very, very abnormal. Because we are tripartite beings. You have a spirit, you have a soul, you live in a body. X-ray does not see emotional wounds. I want to appreciate my host for inviting me. She made a statement. She said something happened. She was reacting to the voice of her pain. And her son had to bring her back and said, excuse me, mom, what did we carry? What did we throw? What happened? You know what I'm saying? I mean, why would you, what had happened now does not make sense. She didn't say does not make sense, but he didn't say that does not make sense. But what he's trying to say is, mom, what you are doing, your actions, your reaction is not fitting into what has just happened. And that is how we pass it down. We are not aware. We are not conscious. We are not even, we're not sure of what is going on. Because, you know, our subconscious life is as real as our physical life. Your subconscious life. I'm sure some of you wake up one morning and you just feel bad and you're wondering what happened. Who said what? Is it my dream? Is it somebody? What happened? You may not be able to put your finger on it, but it is tangible. Now, when we are dealing with parenting, that is something that we cannot even finish in 6 sessions. Parenting is so dynamic that a lot of times parents don't even know where they have missed it. They just find out that what happened? I don't know my son. I don't know my daughter. Why? Because when you are messed up growing up, when you are raised by parents that are not emotionally matured, when a baby gives birth to a baby, your daddy is a baby, your mom is a baby. I'm not talking about age. I'm talking about emotional maturity. The moment you are raised by parents that are not emotionally matured, they can go to Harvard. They can be a billionaire. They can be everything. They can be the best leader in their various vocations. But the moment they are not emotionally matured, they transfer it to their children just like that. Hook, line, and sinker. I remember several episodes in my life. My mother would wake up and say, you're a bastard. My mother would wake up and say, I wish I had washed away your menstrual period. My mother would wake up and tell me, you are a child of shame. You are a child of reproach. Many a times when you give birth to a child in the neighborhood, now I'm not the cause of their trauma. I'm not the cause of their divorce. I'm not the one that said they should separate when I was a child. I didn't know why I came to their life. I just find myself there. When a woman gives birth to a baby in the neighborhood, my mother will say, congratulations, a boy or a girl. The moment you say, oh, he's a baby girl, my mother will say, don't name her Funkeo. So rejection was my first name, second name, middle name, last name, and all around me is rejection. When I met with Christ, because a lot of people have been confused, now that I'm born again, I'm a child of God, listen to me and listen to me profoundly. Let me talk to people that are born again. So you will understand that you are not born again in your soul. We are tripartite beings. You have a soul, you have a body, and you have your spirit. When you are born again, your spirit is ignited, you come back to life. Your soul is the seat of pain, is the seat of shame, is the seat of trauma, is the seat of rape, is the seat of rejection, is the seat of where you became a doctor, a banker, an accountant, and a medical doctor. I'm sure you know that there are many doctors you have seen, probably, that smokes like chimney. And all of them know that smokers are liable to die young. As a matter of fact, at the back of a pack of cigarettes, cancer of the lungs are written there. They said smokers are liable to die young, and you see them smoke. Why? What happened is, when you've given your life to Christ, your spirit is born again. Your soul that has been traumatized, that has been shamed, that has been pained, that a lot of things had happened to, that thing is sitting in your soul. The anger, the addiction to pornography, to masturbation, to overeating, over shopping, to rage, to addiction to nicotine, to cigarette, whatever it is, sitting in your soul. That is where you also learn to go to school. That's why David said, he makes me to lie down and he restores my soul. When you are not restored in your soul, the trauma sits there for life. I'm sure you would be thinking with me. You would have met a lot of people, especially adults, that still react, that still misbehave, that still act like a dog that had rabies, that still do things, and you're wondering, what's going on? They are aging, they are reacting because they are not healed. They cannot bring the pus, the venom out of their soul. David that said, he makes me to lie down, he restores my soul. He knows what he's talking about. Paul said to Christians in 1 Thessalonians 5:3, he said, I pray that your spirit, your soul, and your body be preserved blameless unto the coming of the Lord. Meaning that if you have so much wounds in your soul, you'll be so wounded, you'll be so traumatized, life has beaten you black and blue through rejection, rape, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, whatever form of abuse that has traumatized your soul, sits there until you get into therapy. Now, it's so unfortunate that in Africa, especially African setting, we don't understand therapy at all. A few years ago, I was in England, and we were driving through Thamesmead, and one of my girls I just saw cars parked. I'm telling you what I saw myself. I just saw car parked on the road, and they were dropping their flowers. So I asked her, I didn't know there was a sign there that a dog was hit by a moving vehicle. She just said a dog just died there. I said dog died. So they are bringing flowers to the road, meaning that they understand probably the man or the woman has willed his life to his dog or his cat. So they understand that trauma is easily passed down. People can easily transfer the aggression of what life has thrown at them. And I will show you. I may not talk like scriptures, but because I'm faith-based. But I have had Muslim clients that are really, really deep in their religion. It's the same principle. The dimension of spirituality, I don't want to rule it out. But most of the time, this issue of trauma is psychological. Let me give you another example. I used to have a lot of dogs at home. Like back then, because we're the first set that moved to the estate, so I had about 16 dogs in the house. Gates were not there and all of that. So I I have Alsatians, I have local dogs, I have lots of them. Unfortunately, they were having so many, they were just having children. Let me put it that way. We had a lot of puppies, and one of them, I just told myself, I said, these puppies are becoming a nuisance, you know, the way they eat and all. So I told, then my mother was ill. She was in the hospital. So my sister came with her children, 3 of them, to the house. So it was when I wanted to dispose the dogs that my nieces and their mom came to the house. So they helped me to drive those dogs, beating them, shout, you know, just trying to pack them to the person that came to pick them. So we gave out like 10 or 15 at the time. But we left 2 puppies. They were babies. We were still giving them milk because we just said, we can't just let these ones are beautiful, you know. They were puppies, lovely ones, and they were local dogs. So we kept 2 of them. We were giving them milk and everything just to make sure they survived. Their mother was gone. All of them were gone. My sister's children did that, and eventually my mother died. We had to plan for the burial. About 2 months after, when we were planning for the burial, my sister had to come and her kids. As soon as they stepped into my compound, I'm taking you somewhere about trauma. As soon as they stepped into my compound, the puppies were wailing. I'm not saying they were barking. Whoa, 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 whoa. I was wondering what's going on. I came out and I saw that my sister and her sons were in the compound. These were dogs who does not have spirits, but they have a soul. Wow. I said, what? I didn't understand what was going on. I'm talking about maybe like 15 years ago. When I started this mandate, understanding the dynamics of trauma and abuse and whatever it is, was when it resonated in me. I said, what? Now, after my mother, we buried her, everything. A year after, these dogs were grown up. A year after, when my niece came, 2 of them came to the compound, the dogs were barking. They were almost hitting them up. They almost beat them. Terrible. We have to caution them and all of that. And I said, listen to me, if dog could feel the impact of the trauma that having to exit their mother felt, how much more human being? It is not fair on us for us not to know that anything that happens to us that gives us distress, that makes us sad, whatever it is, whether marriage, maybe you lost a child, maybe whatever, anything that brings trauma, you lost your mom, you lost your dad, you lost your job, you had an accident. Trauma is trauma, and we feel it in our soul. And if it is not dealt with, it becomes a stronghold in our minds, whatever religion you choose. I've seen people that their denomination scattered because the leader is not healed. And let me say this, hurting people hurt people. And that's where we are today. Can we hand over trauma, unhealed trauma to our children? Yes, 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 yes. Capital yes. We hand it over. There was this young man, he found himself in a polygamous home, unplanned, but he had a dream. He saw stars. He saw everybody's stars bound before his stars. Amazing, solid vision. He didn't ask for the vision. He did not pray for the vision. He just had a vision that he was a star. And the first thing that happened, listen to me, if you are from a monogamous home or polygamous home, or you are raised by single parent, just know that you are not normal. Especially when your emotional, psychological needs are not met in that home. I'm not talking about financial needs. I've seen people, I have a lot of clients all over the world. Their children are in London on drugs and they are wealthy. They've sent them to America. I have lots of them. So don't say, I gave you good books. I sent you to school. I gave you good things of life. You go to summer, you do everything. You go for summer, forget those ones. Emotional wounds are not x-rayed. Please note it. And whatever happens to you that is negative is sitting somewhere. Is sitting in your subconscious mind, is waiting for an accident that is going to happen, and it will happen is a matter of time. This young man, his brother sold him to slavery. They wanted to kill him actually, but thank God, one of them said, let's sold him out. So they sold him out. This was a man that is a virgin. Let me put it that way, because he was actually a virgin. Eventually, the boss honored him because the hand of God was on his life. There was nothing that happens in that business empire that this man does not have a final say. He signs the check, does everything, and the boss wife said, "You have to sleep with me. Can we just sleep together? Can we just have fun?" And the guy just looked at him and said, "This is not it. I can never allow my erection to destroy my direction. I'm going somewhere. I'm not going to sleep with this person. This is not my goal. I saw stars. I know where I'm going." And at the end of the day, of course, the pressure was on without anything. I'm teaching you trauma that can be passed down. Listen to me and listen to me well. I don't even mind stretching my time a little more, but I just want you to understand. And this is a campaign. This is a crusade. This should be preached everywhere. People must understand that being a religious person does not deliver you from trauma. And if you don't heal, you pass it down to the generation unborn. Your children will still pass it down to their children. Your children will pass it to their children. Your children will pass it to their children's children. This is a serious issue that we have to be dealing with in our generation. And the next generation is worse. So this young man was put in the prison for the sin he did not commit. Don't forget, he started with, let's kill him. Behold the dreamer cometh. Let's kill him and see what will become of his dreams. And they put him in the pit, sold him to slavery. And these things were not dealt with. When he got to the prison, some people don't understand that you can be loaded and you are wounded. One of my books, it should be in that seller platform. Loaded but wounded. You can be anointed and be addicted. You can have a personality disorder. That was what happened in that place. It was so bad. It was terribly bad that his gift was still manifested. The gift of seeing vision, the gift of seeing dreams, the gift of having to see things. Solid was still on point. He got to the prison. He just looked at two people that were looking funny in the morning. He said, "Oh boy, what's your problem?" "Oh boy," I said, "I had a dream. Oh, I don't even understand. This dream was scary." He said, "Tell me the dream. I'm here with my gifts. I told you can be loaded and be wounded. You can be anointed and be addicted. You can be so traumatized and you are still producing. You are giving out results. People are looking at you. You are preaching. You are bleeding. You are everywhere. We see them on the pew and on the pulpit. They are everywhere. Everywhere. You hear this person just committed adultery. This person just fornicated. This person scattered his children's home. This person, that. Things happen. But people are not aware. They just felt that when I'm saved, I am saved. That is it. Please, that is not it. Understand this, and I'm taking you somewhere, and I'm intentional with what I am talking about. He interpreted the dream of those two guys, the baker and the butler. Amazing interpretation. It happened. They restored the butler. They beheaded the baker. And for 2 years, he forgot this man, because if you are not healed of your trauma, you will pass it down. I'm going to close shortly and I take questions. If you are not healed with your trauma, you will go on and on and on. For 2 years, he forgot. Until one day the king had a dream and it just dawned on him. Now, what is the process of time? What happened between the time he interpreted that dream, gave the vision that came to pass, and the 2 years? That 2 years was years of dealing with the trauma. Before then, I will tell you what happened. As soon as he interpreted the dream of the baker and the butler, and the guy said, he just said, "I didn't do anything. No, they just put me in the prison. I did not offend anybody." The venom, the purple the show off of the pain, of the trauma just popped up. And God looked at this guy. He said, if I allow this guy to fulfill his dream and become the prime minister with this pain, he will not fulfill the purpose. And guess what? A man was set ahead of them. Chains and shackles were put on his feet. It was heaven that orchestrated the move. He was living a script that he has to live very well to fulfill the vision and the dream he had. Meaning that sometimes when we go through trauma in life, we go through stuff in life, God wants to use our mess to become our message. God wants us to become a wounded healer. But as for him, he started exploding, pumping it out. The anger, the rage. If you get to the place, to the palace, remember me. I didn't do anything. The voice of his trauma, the voice of his pain was popping out. And for 2 years, it has to take a recovery process, therapy process, healing process. By the time the fullness of years came, 2 years, he was no more angry. He was pained. When he saw his brother, he went and wept. They were thinking he was going to revenge. He was going to avenge. This is payback time. He said, you don't understand. I'm healed. If you are not healed of your trauma, you pass it down to the generation unborn. And I will tell you what happened to that young man. After he was healed, he came, of course, he was healed. He's met his father. He met his brother. You know the story. He was, hiding as if he cannot hear their language. Gave them food to take home to their father. He insisted he wanted to see his brother. He wanted to see his father. Everything was, synergizing until his father came and he brought his 2 boys to his father to bless them. And guess what the father did? The father crossed his hand. The man unconsciously was going to pass down the trauma to the children, to his grandchildren. You can see what I'm saying. Trauma is generational. If it is not addressed, it continues. You pass it down like Xerox, you dub it, hook, line, and sinker. Guess what? The man that was healed, if you are hearing me now, and you have been through stuff in life that rocked your foundation, rocked your soul, wound your heart, just check into therapy. Don't even try anything. Don't try and get married. You are going to keep repeating and replaying the tape to your spouse, to your children. Because he has dealt with himself for 2 years in the process of time. He has dealt with bitterness. He has dealt with anger. He has dealt with low self-esteem. He has dealt with intimidation. He has dealt with so many, many things. He has dealt with those words that were spoken to him. The things that his brother said, let's kill him and see. You understand how you feel when you have so much to deliver and people just look down on you, talk you down, say things to you. You're like, what did I do? Especially when you felt you did not deserve it. Even sometimes when you feel you deserve it, some things are done to you that you will wonder, this punishment cannot be measured with what they did to me. Let me give you one of my stories. My stepfather was trying to molest me sexually. And because everybody assumed that she's wayward, my mother said, you want to sleep with my husband? And she cut me with a knife. The mark is still in my hand. It's not my kind of skin. If I have a scar like this, it stays there. That's still in my hand. And I was saying, no, I was innocent. I didn't do it. But because this young man was healed, completely healed, he told his father, you can't cross your hand. I'm stopping the flow. I can't continue to perpetuate this nonsense. I'm done. Do you know how powerful passing down trauma is? The father still crossed his hand. But an authority over that person, over those children, those 2 boys, stopped it. And that was the end of losing. From this great-grandfather, they were losing their firstborn son. That was the end of losing their firstborn son. So that tells you something, whether you are conscious of it or not, whether you are ignorant of it, whether you don't believe in it, whether you tell yourself, I'm religious, I can pray, I can fast, I can do everything, forget. You will pass it down. You are passing it down already. You are still going to pass it down. If you are now not healed, your children will go through the same thing. They will not pass it down to their children. And when people are summarizing issues, they will say it's a generational cause. I just smile. I have a guy here that is addicted to sex. Now, let me tell you something. If your trauma is not healed, probably let me take questions so that we can leave. I appreciate you for listening to me. Thank you so, so much. Thank you.
Thank you so, so, so much, man. That was very, 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 very powerful. If we have questions, I would like us to put it in the chat box. I have some questions already here that I'm going to be asking our guest minister. And I think one of them, she has already answered them. I've sent some of them to her already. The first one I would like to answer is that why is trauma a struggling concept in religious setting? I am a Christian, and I realize that sometimes it's difficult for people to become vulnerable with their emotional state, because people assume that, oh, maybe you are not praying enough, or you are not walking in the spirit, or you are not walking in the fruit of the spirit, or you are not. Why is this, especially in the African context, why is it so difficult for us to acknowledge that somebody can become a believer and yet we still need to go for therapy? We still need to deal with issues that will help the person with their soul. Why is it so difficult, and what can we do as individuals to close that gap? Especially those of us that are parents, or those of us that intend to get married, or those that are leaders in the church, or those that are religious in other religious setting. What can we do to create more awareness and close that gap that it is normal? It is normal that if you have trauma in your life, there are ways you can get healed.
Thank you so much for that question. I was talking to one of my clients this morning. I said, until the saints are restored, we are not going to have revival. We're going to have migration. I live in Ibadan. On the way to Lagos, we have Redemption Camp. On the other side, we have Mountain of Fire. If you're used to Nigeria, I'm sorry. Now, then we have NASAT. There's a Muslim structure organization on the left. Then we have one Deeper Life on the side. Then we now go to Kelan. That is what every believer does. They migrate. There's no revival. You cannot give what you don't have. The leaders, they don't have it. They don't know it. They themselves are struggling. From Genesis to Revelation, I can teach it. That is my life. This is what I breathe. This is what I live. Because I've lived it. It's not just somebody teaching me. This is the gospel that I'm preaching, that I've felt, I've touched, I've handled. I know when I was healed. I did not tell you 1/0 of my life story. This is just a fragment that I've just shared with you. Now, the church, they are not aware. But I said something to that client of mine this morning. I said, church is in dispensation. There was a time it's prosperity, prosperity, prosperity. At times we got to healing, 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 miracle, miracle, miracle. But listen, the last gospel before Jesus will come is the gospel of the restoration of the saints. It is a saint that is restored that can do evangelism. I asked a guy, he's my client today, this morning. I told him, I said, your wife, you were engaged, you wanted to be married. The father of your wife left them when they were young. An uncle that they were living with sexually assaulted her. Brilliant girl. She's a bank manager. Solid girl. My client. Now, a friend came to see her, and she said, and the guy, they were just talking, and she told the fiancé that this were the couple that they have booked in for premarital counseling. They were going to see their father-in-law next week. So I'm not telling you a relationship that is not yet defined. They were in counseling. They were with me in premarital counseling. And that's why when I do premarital counseling, I tell people, I said, if you come for premarital counseling and you are paying for the counseling sessions, the moment I know there are baggages, you are going to do therapy. You cannot go on. I've refunded some people's premarital counseling's money because they said they are okay. I said, I cannot go on. I don't want to join your testimony of woes because I see the prognosis. I know what will happen. Now, I now asked him, I said, now your fiancé now said, you have not given me ring now. Why would I not allow this ex to come? I said, that is it. It is the voice of her pain. The problem she had is every father figure in her life is abusive, toxic. So she does not even trust the man she's going to get married to until she heals. She said, She said, thank God I was going to have checked her in for therapy. When I called the girl, she said, it's true. She said, I just felt, let me be married. What would my husband even offer? And when you are from a dysfunctional home, you are used to 3 things. Don't trust, don't talk, and don't feel. That is what you are used to. Family secrets, your feelings are numb, then of course, you are not talking to anybody. Trust is a major issue. So she has trust issues. Now, that is to let you know that these people are tongue talker, church people. Everything is about leaders. Now, listen, it's a movement. Church will wake up. They will wake up shortly. That's why I'm on this program. I'm not supposed to be here naturally. But I'm here because I've prayed and I asked God, this is a movement. This is something that the world, especially the church, must know. You cannot look at any believer that is misbehaving and you conclude that this is just a bad character. They are dancing to a music they don't know is playing the rhythm. It's just a dance. It's just a dance. It's just a dance. They are dancing. And they don't know. They are not aware. Now, when you are traumatized, when you are abused, it sits in your subconscious mind. So you just play it out. Now, the next thing I will say is, it's only in the kingdom we don't respect professionals. I use glasses. I have an optician. I have toothache when I turned 60, almost 60. I had to see a dentist. I'm still seeing the dentist as I'm talking to you. When I had health issue, I had to do a hysterectomy. I was at the theater. There were over 7 people at the theater table for one body. Church and leaders and pastors should start referring people. I have some pastor friends all over the world that when they meet issues like this, they just hand them over to me as a professional. Why? They know their area. Church is to complement each other. We are not competing. A pastor that wants to do everything is just a killer of his members. That's the truth. Even in her church, she paid for her members' therapy from the church account. She has done that to me multiple times. Her church is in Philadelphia. I don't want to mention names. She would just look at me and say, this is not a normal case. Okay, one of the cases she sent to me, the guy had a mental problem. You know, I've not even talked about being married to a narcissist, a sociopath, or a psychopath. I've not even mentioned personality disorder here. And they're on the pulpit. We have a lot of narcissists on the pulpit that when you see what they do, when you hear how they behave, you will know that this is a mental illness. This is not normal. They lie and they say they're on the pulpit. Lots of them. Now, this guy is schizophrenic. He has a mental illness. He's paranoid. He was telling me that he had his wife talking to a man and he brought an audio that is not there. I said, this is a mental illness. Please, church, hear me, and I'm shouting. If you are not ashamed to use glasses, don't be ashamed to treat your emotions. Don't be ashamed to treat your feelings. Don't be ashamed to go and see a psychiatric doctor if you are losing it. God gave us brain so that God can rest. It is not fair on any individual that crosses your path and you notice that this person has a KNOTTY situation and you allow the person to move on like that. It is not fair. Now, let me say this because there's so much to say. When people have a struggle, they come to Jesus for help. You are talking about church. If they don't see help, some will backslide and say it doesn't worth it. Some will stay in church, lifting up holy hands and still be struggling with their addictions. There's no one that is traumatized that does not have an addiction. It may be anger. Anger is addiction. Anger can be addictive. What is addiction? Is a way you medicate a pain. It's the way you drink Panadol or analgesic for the trauma that you've been through. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Ma. I have a question in the chat box. It says, you said any child brought up by a single mom or dad is not normal and is dysfunctional. What if the mom is a widow or father a widower?
They get into therapy. It's not a big deal. Now, let me say something here. A child that is, now in the natural, you don't raise child as an individual. There's nothing you can do. You can't kill, you can't bring somebody that is dead to life. But that child has feelings. We react to pain differently. That child is missing something. There's a vacuum. I run a school of ministry. I'm starting the school of marriage on the 10th of August. And I'm dealing with the baggages first. I don't even get into anything without dealing with the roots. Now, a child that the father died. I have a client now. I'm doing sexual addiction therapy for him. His father died when he was 6 years. And the mother had to struggle. The parents of the family of the father took all the property. Nothing was left for them. So the mother had to struggle. While the mother was struggling, one auntie in the neighborhood would take him from school to the house and started molesting him sexually. So he became active sexually before the age of 10. He told me, we have a note of confidentiality, so you are safe. Now, he had 2 children for 2 different women before he got married. The wife stumbled on him masturbating. The woman caught him with multiple sexual activity on his phone. Unfortunately, he married a virgin. So the woman was shattered, scattered, lost it. They have to seek intervention. Listen to me. Anyone that has been through anything, loss of father, loss of mother. Now, you cannot raise a child with one hand. A child needs a family system to grow. When you are into therapy, maybe your husband died and you're into therapy, your therapist will have to help that child to fill in the gap, fill in the vacuum. Now, you know what? We don't see it now. It is when those kids have grown up. I can tell you so many, even from the scriptures. Now, let's look at Rebecca and Isaac and Abraham and Sarah. Nobody would have said Isaac was dysfunctional. Isaac was superly dysfunctional because of polygamy. You remember, husband and wife, they were fighting. I don't want this child of a bondwoman. Let her go. Story. Abraham went to God. God said, let the child go and the mom. But the fight between Isaac and Ishmael has brought trauma to Isaac, but nobody knew. When you are dysfunctional, hear me now, you naturally marry a woman or a man that is dysfunctional, whether you are from a monogamous or polygamous home. I'm an institution in what I'm saying. Take it to the bank. I know what I'm saying. You can prove me wrong. It's a matter of time. Time will tell. By the time you begin to see the results, you say, this woman said something sometimes ago. Everybody needs to go through therapy, even if you are from a monogamous home. The moment anything happens to you that ruffles your soul, you need help. Now, Rebecca married Isaac. What will of God do you want to know? For the fact that your husband or your wife is the will of God for you does not make you functional. Don't tell me I pray, God open my eyes. Yes, I agree. What did you carry? Where are you coming from? You know, I have a nickname. Please let me to write it on the chat box. Trace it. Embrace it. Erase it and replace it. Trace it. You must trace the root of where you are coming from. Embrace it. There are things you cannot change. You have to live with it. But it is only in therapy they will help you to embrace it. Erase it and start replacing it. And recovery is like peeling an onion. You start line by line. I had 5 sessions with 5 different people today. And if you see the questions I was asking, the girl was saying, wow. You have to answer my questions before I start helping you to remove the baggages. I wish I could have brought a PowerPoint point. I'll ask Shegu if you can quickly get this PowerPoint to this. At least I'm one of your. Let me look for it. I will show you a picture right away for you to understand what I'm saying practically. I use this to teach in my school of ministry and whatever program I'm doing, because if people don't deal with their issues, it's a waste of time. Yes, this is the picture. Where is it? Yes. Okay. Let's able to come and put this. We are also in this picture. We're going to put this picture. This one. Okay, let me resend it to you so I won't stress you. Sorry, I need to. I'm not going to talk much. Oh, I take time. Okay, don't worry then. Probably I will send it to her. She'll put it wherever it is. They said it would take time. Now, what I'm trying to say is very simple. When you have baggages and you don't deal with it, Rebecca, the day of the wedding, it was her uncle that gave her out in marriage. Where was his dad? The father handed over the driver's seat of his life to his brother. You know the marriage of Rebecca and Isaac. They had 2 parties in their house. How to recover from heartbreak? We're getting there. It's therapy, actually. Now, before you know it, they raised 2 parties in their house. Now, guess what? Do you know that Abraham committed adultery with Agar? Do you know that Isaac did not commit adultery, but there's trauma in his bloodline? He now gave back to Esau and Jacob. Esau and Jacob now went. When Jacob was running away, please hear me. When Jacob was running away, what happened? He met a lady, the daughter of his uncle. And the first thing is, I want to marry you. What? And the man said 7 years. To him, 7 years was like 7 days. After the wedding, after the night of the wedding, can you see addiction, sex in the bloodline? The night of the wedding, you slept with somebody that you dated for 7 years. Sure, you don't know the voice and the perfume and the body odor or the voice of the person that you dated for 7 years. The pattern of the bloodline was pursuing him, was following him. He got pregnant. I mean, he slept with his sister. His sister, senior sister, his wife's senior sister. And he said, no. Why did you do it? Daddy, why did you do it? He said, we cannot give the junior brother sister. We can't give the junior sister out to marry when the senior one is there. And he was ready to spend another 7 years. How on earth a man that is destined to be great, you spend 14 years of your life on the issue of woman alone? You understand what I'm saying? That is to let you know that passing it down is real. Healing of wound is real, and people are wounded in their soul. People are wounded in their soul. When there's a wound, it stenches, it smells. The fragrance, the odor of your trauma will smell out for people to perceive. When you act, when you react, when you do things, a lot of things happen. No time. Yes. I wish I could show you this picture. Let me just show you. Look at this picture. There is a Bible in his hand, in this person's hand. But look at the baggages. Look at the baggages. And I said, any Christian struggling with their whole lives with emotional baggages, he has the Bible, he knows the truth. But what is happening? There's an arrow that is being shot in his mind. How far can you run with a bag of cement as a baggage? You can't. Nobody flies with weight. I fly business class. You don't fly with, even in business class, they measure your luggage. So, not to talk of economy, you are limited to your size or else you pay. You can't fly with your weight. You can't fly with baggages. You must trace it. You must embrace it. You must erase it. You must replace it. Then you start going through healing process. And of course, it's a process. Okay. When you are listen, I said it, let me quickly say this. When you are getting married, 14 invincible people are going into marriage. It's not only 2 people they are joining. Pastors, hear me. 14 people you don't see have been joined in that marriage. Everything your mother, the mother of your wife or the father of your wife did to your wife, she's taking it into that marriage. I appreciate you for hearing my heart. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I know we're nearly about at the end of 1 hour now. We have 2 questions here. Shall I read them out?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead.
yes, thank you, ma'am. This one says, I know I need help and would like to see a professional, but my husband does not see the need. How can I make him see reasons without starting a fight?
It's very simple. When I do therapy professionally, I don't lump husband and wife together. I do consultation. People pay for some consultation. I ask questions. Then I start therapy. I don't need husband and wife to heal a relationship. You just need one person, a good professional. I've done this for 40 years of my life. If you are a professional, you don't need the husband to come in. By the time you get into therapy and you start healing, you start changing. If he has a personality disorder, you will know. If the person that you are reaching out to as a professional knows what he's doing, you definitely don't have a problem. You don't have to cause a fight. You don't have to bring a fight. I have a couple, they are in therapy now. The husband was just not saying no. Okay, the husband said, if you are doing therapy, I'll pay. They both agreed to pay. For 3 months, they didn't reach out. We are doctors. A doctor does not go and look for patients. They will still come when they are ready. That's the beauty of this job. And by the time they are sitting yesterday with my Zoom meeting with them, the man was saying, I wish I had known these things. But it's because I started with the wife. I taught the wife what to do. How do I communicate? What do I do? What are the signs? What a woman has 38 solid powers. I run a school of ministry for women, apart from dealing with addiction and dealing with trauma and baggages and all of that. By the time you use your power as a woman, the man will melt and he will do it. And if he does not do it, if he does not want to do it, you will change for your husband to change. So I don't need husband and wife to resolve even marital conflict, whether it is therapy or conflict in marriage. I just need one person that will listen to me, and I have an oath that I will sign, you will sign that you will listen, because my hands are full. Thank you.
All right, we have this. Another person says, is this also referred to as spiritual attack? And the last person is saying how to recover from heartbreak.
It's trauma. Now, you see, when you are talking about spiritual attack, it's so unfortunate that we have spiritualized everything. I told us, I said, you're a spirit, you are a soul, you live in a body. Your soul is the spirit, is the seat of heartbreak. David said, why are you so downcasted, oh my soul? Put your hope in God. He makes me to lie down, he restores my soul. In sin I was born, iniquity my father conceived me. All this, now, let me take you back to the scriptures a little bit. David was a boy of one night's sleep. Oh, let me leave David. Let me start from Abraham. Abraham came from a very dysfunctional home. Polygamy, idolatry is close to polygamy. An idol worshiper will have more than one wife. You agree with me? Now, Abraham is a believer in the content of the New Testament because God called him. He became there's no way. Joseph, all of them, Joseph I mentioned, they led the New Testament in the Old Testament. So Abraham too. Then I have other Corinthian Christians in the New Testament. But let me use Abraham to quickly solve this. Now, the first thing that happened, he had an encounter with God. Leave your family, leave everybody. The first point is to lie. He told them he's not his sister. When you are from a polygamous home, your self-esteem is truncated. There was no way Abraham should lie again when God has told him to leave. He should be confident in the God that has spoken to him. But baggages popped up, showed up. He lied. He said, it's not my wife, it's my sister. That episode left. God salvaged him, saved him from that. They started looking for children. When the issue of children came, the wife just said, honey, can we sleep with this? The man did not, deacon or elder or Pastor Abraham did not adjust to. He just slept with this woman straight up. How do you explain that? He had God. He was traumatized. But because he did not do therapy, did not deal with his trauma, he started acting out. Now, when I talk about acting out, hear me now. Me, I'm an iPhone person. My watch, my phone, everything. I don't like Android. You know why? Because it's pop up a lot of things. When you don't ask for it, it just showed up. That is what happened when you have trauma. It pop up. It showed up when you are not expecting. You know, my host said something. She said, when our son, something happened, her son said something, and the way the conversation went, his son had to say, Mom, this does not add up. It was a pop-up. Things pop up in our lives because we are not dealing with what has dealt with us. Hurting people hurt people. Wounded people wound people. And the wound that is not healed will never, never be healed. A wound has to be treated before it is healed. And finally, I was preaching somewhere in the US some years back, and I had a fungal infection on my toenails. I mean, I like my nails. I don't wear covered shoe. I prefer my open shoe, so my nails must be on point. And this fungal infection was eating my nails. I was in pain. I'll put hydrogen peroxide. I'll put M&B. I was stuffing the wound with the hole. The guy that was doing my pedicure said, Mommy, can you just let's remove it? I said, no. Don't worry, leave it. It will be. I was on the pulpit in the US. The floor was tarred, and the nail fell off, and blood was everywhere. And I'm a guest speaker. For that weekend, I preached for 4 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I couldn't even wear slippers because of pain. And the Holy Spirit said to me, anything you keep covering will decay. Anything you cover, help me to write it down. Anything you cover will decay. If you don't deal with it, it's an accident that is about to happen, it will still happen. And that was what happened to Abraham. That was what happened to David. David was a boy of one night sleep. One night sleep. You want to tell me David does not know God? He knew God. What was he doing in the life of in the life of Bathsheba? Look at David. See, trauma can be passed down. Confirmation again. David did not tell Solomon, go and sleep with women. He had 300 wives, 700 concubines, 1,000 mother-in-law, one person. Passed it down. Trauma can be passed down. Solution is healing. Whether your husband wants it. Life is essentially a personal adventure. Life is personal. I'm healing by myself. I don't need anybody to help me heal. Let me heal and be fine and be whole and be total and be complete for myself. Some of you are not in Nigeria. Even if you're in Nigeria, you must have entered the aircraft. They will ask you, welcome to flight so, going to so place. In case there is a turbulence in this flight, fasten your seatbelt. Take care of yourself before you take care of your children. Meaning that if you are alive, you can, Jesus said to Peter, when you are converted, strengthen your brethren. Meaning that it's when you are alive that you'll be able to restore that people to life. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. Well, thank you so much. The final question, Ma, please. It says, what do you do when your own child disappoints you with a serious immoral act that you have to live with forever? If you're a minister, should we send the child away or live with such shame and embarrassment?
Your child is your child. Love your children. What are you saying? How many times have we disgraced God? Have we done something to God? Let that child find love at home. What are you saying? It's pride. Pride. Hey, let your children know that our relationship may be broken, but it's not fractured. It may be fractured, it's not broken. Because you're a woman of God. Who told you that shepherds don't bleed? Thank God I didn't know the person is a question. Shepherds bleed. You know, when my first son, who is the celebrity to the world today, I was packing Indian hemp from his jeep. Imagine if I've lost him. Sometimes he's ministering, I'm crying. Please join me and do therapy and heal, ma. What is my business with the world? Everybody is living their scripts. Please. So if you throw him away or throw her away, what happened to eternity? Have you forgotten that God said to one prophet to go and marry a prostitute? What is God trying to say? Identify with you. Myself, my children, they know our relationship may be fractured, but it's not broken. That is the love of God they are looking from you. You now throw the child away. Let them say, please carry your cross and follow. Let that child, when the child sees love, it will become a voice to a mess. It will become a messenger in that particular. Maybe the child got pregnant, so maybe the child, had HIV. So that is parenting. What is parenting? Parenting is the ability to stay with your children in the midst of it all. You are still going. If you throw that child away, do you know a child that will be with you at your deathbed? You know a child that will not become. Maybe my mother told me that the person who have caused me have died. I celebrated her in life and in death. The whole world stood for my mommy's burial about 20 years ago, thereabouts. And this is a stone that the builders rejected, that has become the head cornerstone. What do you want TD Jakes to do? Look at the daughter today. Please. Some of these things, they are web of baggages that we have to get that girl into therapy, love that girl like no other, or that boy, whatever, even if it's drugs. Take that person, take that child to rehab. Let's heal. Let's get that child back on point. You'll be shocked what that child will become. Now, listen, your kids are your fault. That child is your fault. Bad driving, bad parenting, bad manners, bad parenting, bad attitude, bad parenting. Whatever you have done that made that child to misbehave and become a disgrace to you, traveling abroad, is not the fault of the child. Every child comes to the world blank. It is what you play back to them, they play back to their lives. Don't tell me I'm a perfect parent. What about neglect? Do you know whether they were molesting that girl when you've gone out to survive or to hustle? You don't know, because you are not listening. You didn't hear the girl speak her own story. That's why you assume she has disgraced you. He or she has disgraced you. They have done something wrong. No. One guy, one of my clients, is a pastor's child. One girl, one auntie in the house, when they will be doing pastor's meeting in pastor's office, the girl will be sleeping with that boy from the age of 12 in front of the house. He told me himself. And this boy started misbehaving with serious anger. Serious anger issue. He would misbehave, he would smoke, he would drink, he would do everything. Until this boy got into therapy, I said, come. You are a son of a pastor. What happened? He said, ma, this auntie was sleeping with me. And sometimes my daddy would slap me and say, go and stay with auntie something. Not knowing that the girl was ejaculating, fingering, mess. I don't want to say so many things that boy shared with me. And it's church that wounds us most. Listen to me, I wear clothes anywhere I go. Thank God this one has some stones. Whatever, so what? Leave me alone. You are not wearing my shoes. You don't know where it hurts. I don't owe anybody any questioning anytime. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I'm going through. If you want to find out about me, ask me a question, I will answer you. But I will not allow any voice of my opposition to make me to lose my position in raising my children. I will pack India hem. My first one is GF Adetuberu. Maybe you go and find out. This man, over 3,000, 5,000, sit under him every Sunday. This is a boy that he had 2 piercings. He has tattoo here. He's my son. Imagine if I have thrown him away. Would I have joy today? He bought me a car some times ago. Not that I needed a car, but he bought it for me. I have my brand new car that I'm using just to say thank you. My second son was saying, Mommy, you are my comforter, my confronter. You are my confidence. You are my counselor. If you can't pay a price, you can't market it in the house. Leave it. Don't sell it in church, please. Don't let church and religion mess our children up for them to now hate our God. Sorry if I'm too hard, but that's my passion.
Thank you so much, Ma. You've dealt with a lot of things. And as we begin to round up, I've shared our guest minister, our guest details in the chat box. If you want to contact her, our Facebook link, our Instagram handle, and then our product on seller, and also our website. On the website, there are loads and loads and loads of information. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you for being a blessing to us. It's been a wonderful time, and I'm encouraged in the sense that, and I'll say reason why I'm so encouraged about this is because I am very passionate about mental health. I'm in the fitness industry. I've been a fitness instructor for over 25 years, going to nearly 30 years now. And I've seen a lot in the fitness world that I've met a lot of 6 size 10, 6 size 8, 6 size 20. I've met people that use exercise as a way to handle trauma. I've seen a lot, and I just realized that there is something that is missing in
Yes.
our fitness and wellness crusade. And that is the need for us to give attention to our internal world. There are a lot of people that are sick internally, and we are not giving people enough opportunity to be able to express themselves. So if you are here and from what you have done today, you realize that you need therapy, don't be ashamed. Don't allow anybody to shame you. Don't allow anybody to embarrass you if you decide to go for therapy. Don't allow anybody to use name calling to put you in a box. You know, if like today, if you see people that are on medication, we don't have problems when people talk about, oh, I have diabetes, I'm on this medication. I have hypertension, I'm on this medication. People talk about it, and people are not embarrassed to talk about it. But when it comes to emotional issues, especially those of us that are faith-based, we are always looking for a way to shout people down, to shame people. And that is why I am all out to promote mental and emotional wellness, and to say that it is possible for us to be healed. That is the will of God for us. So anything you can do, if you need to go for therapy, go for therapy. If you need to deny yourself buying clothes and shoes for a while to be able to pay for therapy, you deserve it. If you need to, to cut down on your expenses and save money, because the greatest investment you can make is investment on yourself. That is the greatest investment. It's good to have a lot of money. It's good to have the good things of life. It's good to dress well. It's good to, to drive the latest on the latest car. It's good to be able to, live comfortably. But guess what? All those things become meaningless if you are sick within. All those things become meaningless if in your internal world you are not in congruence. So, and that is not the will of God for us. So I would like to thank you, ma. And you can see that the way I'm talking with so much energy. Because
It is energy.
yes.
The problem is that the only thing that is not redeemable is death. Shame is redeemable. Shame is redeemable. Shame is redeemable. Death is the only thing that is not redeemable. Whatever, I see people walking as if they have a hunchback because of what life will say. Let them say, it doesn't matter. You heal and become a wounded healer. You heal and become a wounded healer. You heal and become a wounded healer. Don't let anybody shame you into cowardice, sitting inside. Seek help, and seek help with, now let me say this before I leave. It is only African that can help also to heal. As a therapist, I discovered all the people all over the world, because our culture differs. When you go to a white man and you tell him that your husband has committed adultery, blah, 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 he will tell you to hear and say, if you want to go, you can go. I will tell you, if you want to go, you can go. But I want to be sure there is no pattern of the bloodline of addiction to save your children. Because by the time you leave that man and you marry, most second thought, I'm not doing marriage seminar here, most second thought marriages hardly works. The devil you did not conquer in this one, how would you conquer it in another one? And if you are saying, I don't even want, I'm not doing again, what about my children? The blood of that man flows in the vein of your children. So if you are as an African person, we understand our culture, we understand our tradition, we know how it goes, we know what is happening. It is easy for someone that is in the system to help. So I'm not saying that you should not go and meet a white counselor or therapist, but just know what you want and go for gold, because gold is your goal. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ma. We're so grateful. It's really been an honor having you here. For our participant, I've posted a link on the chat box if you want to contact her. And my name is Olaronke. As I said at the beginning, I'm into fitness. I'm also a trauma coach, and I'm also going through my own journey of healing, which I'm very, very passionate about. There is a question in the chat box, which I think it will be good for us, ma, to round up. Is it necessary to change environment to heal? This is very important, ma.
It depends, actually. It depends, One thing I do when I start to clerk my patients is very simple. I ask questions. We can do 2 sessions in asking questions or 1 hour. We pay per session, but I ask questions. Now, it is that question that will, the answer you give that will determine if I will tell you to leave the environment. If you're in a toxic relationship, the man is beating you black and blue, exit. Divorce is different from separation. This is how we start. If it's a, domestic violence issue. So we need to understand the patient before we do the diagnosis. I tell people, and I need to explain therapy again in this slide, make it simple. You have headache in Africa, in London, you go to the corner shop, you get pain reliever, you take it, he refuses to go. Say, what is wrong with me? You go to your doctor, call in, and this thing is, I'm still not feeling well. You ask questions. In Africa, we go to the chemist, we go to our family doctor, he treats malaria and all of that. If that thing continues and you go back to the doctor, they said that they send you to a teaching hospital, or they said, come and go and do tests. Now, the test is the same thing with therapy. When you talk to your doctor, you do headache, it didn't go. You do injection, it did not go. The first thing is not medication. A good therapist will not start medication with you without finding out the root. So what you do is you do saliva test, you do urine test, you do blood test, you do physics test. When the result comes out, that is when we now say, okay, this is the treatment that is required. That is when we can tell you, yeah, leave, change environment, go to this place. Or we even talk about doing a massage. You can do, that's when I start bombing you with questions in my therapeutic session. Then you know that you are the one that will be figuring it out yourself. And we know that we are going on a journey of recovery. So you cannot quickly say, change location. Change location if you have children, what happens? I've written one of my books, Unveiling the Veil of Relationship Vampires. That book tells you, you have to leave. Yes, you have to leave. But what about the finances? You know how many women are in a place of being thoroughly abused, and torturedly abused. If there's any English like that, that will never go out because he has 7 kids. Where do you want to take 7 kids to? So in therapy, we help you to manage that. You set boundaries. You can set boundaries and you can leave. And we can look for a support system for you that will help you to get out of the toxic relationship. What is important is your mental wholeness. If you are not ashamed to use glasses, don't be ashamed to treat your emotional wounds. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. We're so grateful. It doesn't end here. This is just the starting point. Many other programs will still come on that will be talking about mental issues. We'll be talking about the need for us to look after our health, about looking after our health holistically, spirit, soul, and body. I know every parent, every person here, we love our kids and we want the best for them.
A question came up, does therapy never end? Yes, we get to a spot that you know you are fine. So, in my therapeutic sessions, I tell people, I said, you get to a stage when we start, it's like you have an emergency, back to back, back to back. Before, I used to say 20 sessions before, but now I reduced it to 5. I had a client that we started with 5 sessions. The husband committed adultery. We've done another 5 sessions. And I know we are not ending there, but for it not to be overwhelming, we can start little by little. But the secret is that when you get to a place, to a doctor, no news will be good news. Sometimes you don't even call I've had people who have not called me, especially when I'm privileged to do premarital counseling. They are saving my soul of trouble. I've done premarital counseling for hundreds of people, and sincerely, none of them have come back and said I have issues in my marriage. That is saving my soul for myself. But those who have been there and they have to maybe postmarital counseling and all of that is a lot of work. So counseling, therapy can end. You will now, what you want to do to your therapist is when anything happens, especially if you marry a narcissist now, is a marathon. Your life, you are married a vampire. You have to, till your children are married, you are still talking to your therapist, but there's an agreement. By the time I've done several sessions with you, I'm committed to help you to do sessions based on the fact that you are in my VIP group. I have a VIP sessions that, you know, you just pay something there and I keep helping you after we have gotten to a place where you have found your footing. A lady called me this morning, 2 a.m. from the US. Her husband had a girlfriend and is bringing the girlfriend to America. She said, I want to confront. I said, don't confront him again. You are done. You have confronted him before. Don't say anything again. If she had not had me, she would have confronted the man. And of course, the man was not going to change because he has confronted him before and nothing has changed. I said, thank God you are not living in Nigeria. That's a safe place for you. Just listen to me. She said, yes, ma'am. No confrontation again. I would say that because I have a file. I have a record. So what we do is to have your file in therapy with us. So we can always, it's like your doctor. The doctor will go to your file when he wants to treat you. Even if they are referring you to another person, they will ask for your case notes. And it's the same thing. The way you will treat your physical body, that is the way you will treat your soul. It's the same. It's tangible. You can touch your soul. It's the same. It's not different from your physical body. Just look at the way you treat your headache, stomachache, menstrual pain, whatever. That's how you treat your soul. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ma. We're so grateful. We've really gone beyond the 1 hour time, but thank you for being so generous, so being kind to us. To everyone that's joined us today, I would like to say a big thank you. I want to believe that you found this session very helpful. Lots of material is still available. I believe most of us joined from the WhatsApp group. I've shared a guest link, Facebook link, Instagram link, the website, and also the list where you can get a book. I've also shared my Instagram link as well, and also the website. I'd like to follow me on Instagram and then follow, and then you'll be able to have access to today's recording. So to everyone
sorry to but I have another question now.
Yes, ma'am.
You said any child brought up by single parent or dad is not normal and is dysfunctional. What if the mom is okay? We have answered the question.
Yeah,
okay,
we have answered that.
The question is so simple. We are saying is not normal or is dysfunctional because emotional needs that the father and the mother will feel that death has yanked away will affect that child one way or the other. That is not normal. That is dysfunctional. I'm not trying to be abusive. Sorry.
No, yeah. And I think I can relate to that because I'm a single mom. And what I've done is I've sat down with my son. I've told him, you know what? You are innocent. The situation you found yourself in, you didn't ask for it, but guess what? You can live a good life. I've told him about the need for therapy. I've told him why we have to go for therapy. I've told him when I started therapy a while ago, he knew. I told him before I started, and I told him the importance of it. You see, when we paint the picture to children that, you know what, I want you to be whole, and we need to get all the help that we need. Children are open, and if they can see that you are also doing the work, they will follow you. So it's not a death sentence if you're a single parent, provided you are willing to do the work to heal. It becomes a death sentence if you're not willing to do the work. But if you are willing to do the work to heal, it's not a death sentence. You can live a good life, and your children can, live a good life. And they can see that no matter what we are experiencing, there is hope for us. There is a better life ahead of us. So we should not become a victim, or allow society to put on in a box. We can heal. So if you're a single parent here, please go for help. Seek therapy. Seek therapy for yourself and also for the sake of your children. If not, you will pass your wound onto those children. You will pass them on. It's just the truth. You will pass them on. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. We are grateful. You've really been a blessing unto us. Thank you so much for everyone. Thank you. All our details, don't forget, they are in the chat box. You are free to contact her. Thank you so much.
Okay, it's not your WhatsApp group.
Sorry?
Okay, you are not seeing my details on the WhatsApp group. Okay, she will put it.
Oh, okay. I'll post everything on the WhatsApp group. I've just posted it on the chat box here, but I'll post everything on the WhatsApp group once we finish the meeting now. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless.
Enjoy your evening. Thank